Prosecutor General, you said earlier that you have 2,500 cases of war crime you investigate right now. But after Bucha, after Brovary, how many are?
For this period, we have more than 4,000 cases. It's cases about war crimes. And we can say that it is after Bucha. Only about after Bucha, Irpin, Vorzel. You know that just now we have very hard situation in Kharkiv region, still in Mykolaiv region, and very hard fighters in Lugansk and Donetsk regions. And of course, all this number of cases, they grow up and grow up every day. And even when we speak about this number that more than 4,000, it's not correct, because one cases it's only about one fact. Other cases it's about 100 episodes. For example, we have our main case, anchor case about Russian aggression, and in this case now we have 214 suspects. It means that we have a huge number of episodes inside one case. It's case about aggression of Russian Federation. Of course, starting the investigations, it means that we should have a lot of resources, human resources, investigation resources, time resources for all these cases. But from other side, we understand that our main goal is to punish people who is guilty in all these crimes.
You talked about the suspects. How many suspects do you have and who are they?
If we speak about this anchor case, we have here, this is the site of Prosecutor General, and we have here these figures. Now they are 214, and every day it plus and plus. It is only about main case. You see here Mr. Shoigu, who is the Minister of Defense, Mr. Kolokoltsev, who is the Minister of Internal Affairs, and others, top politicians, top militaries, people from Russian Federations. When we suspected them, it's not mean they have this status. It means that we actually have court decisions of their arrest as a provisional measure, and we wanted them in the whole world.
Vladimir Putin, is he a suspect now on the list?
Vladimir Putin, in my mind, and I am sure that we can prove it, that he is a main war criminal of 21st century. But unfortunately, we can't start proceeding just against him, because he and the Minister of Foreign Affairs, they have functional immunity under international legislation and under Ukrainian legislation. That's why when they still have their positions here in Ukraine, it's impossible to investigate concrete against them. But it's possible to do on other platforms, for example, via mechanism of International Criminal Court. And of course, we take all evidences of these crimes and their connections to these crimes, and give this all evidence to the ICC.
So after you will be able to enter Mariupol, Prosecutor General, or other cities like Kherson, Kharkiv, do you think that you will be able to change the charges in genocide? And I'm asking that because I met Mr. Reznikov yesterday, and he said that we will have a new Nuremberg process of our century.
We started criminal proceeding about genocide from first days of the war. Actually, it's very important for us because what people feel here in Ukraine, like emotional citizens, it's actually about genocide. But when we read the Statute of Nuremberg process, Nuremberg Tribunal, when we read Convention of Prevention of Genocide, we should understand as a professionals, as a prosecutors, then we should qualify all all possibilities, all characters for this crime. That's why, of course, we will find all evidence, and if we can start with genocide proceeding, we started. But if we started to prosecute of genocide, we will speak about it. Now we can speak only about the situation that people speak about to do genocide in Ukraine. And in our legislation we have the article, special article about genocide, and we can prosecute what we do actually now about starting speaking about genocide. But we will see what it will be after Mariupol. What we see in Bucha and Irpin now, it's not only war crimes, it is crimes against humanity. It's more a cruel crime in the international humanitarian law. But next level, it will be actually genocide.
Can I ask you, Prosecutor General, what was the worst case you documented since the beginning of the invasion?
They all very cruel, and maybe day after day prosecutors has something like vaccinated, but it's impossible every day, and say that one case is worse than other. I can't say like this, but what was impressed me very much, it was murder of a boy on 28th of February. It was in Kiev region. He and his family were hit from a tank attack, and a piece of projectile was in his chest, and he was dead from this situation. His mother tried to save him, and she came back to this place, and this tank attacks took the body of her boy, and she decided to save him, and she didn't knew that it was dead boy. And if it's possible to just to show you a picture about this, it was my maybe first shock from war. After this, we started to. It was very difficult to find how many deaths of kids we have in Ukraine, because, for example, in such cases, and it was Bucha and Mariupol, it was very difficult to count them. That's why we have the number of the cases, but we explain people that it's again not correct, because we have fighting again in Lugansk, Donetsk region, and every day plus 3 plus 4 kids we have. But that case was very terrible for me, very terrible. If we have, this is boy, chest and projectile. You see, put inside. And if we can see like this one, only one photo. Only one photo. Yes. But we have other photos, but maybe I don't have it. That's why actually when we have now a city Mariupol like a city hostage, and thousands of people without food, without water, without electricity, and kids just see as their families dying, it's impossible to read actually.
Do you think ever Vladimir Putin will answer before justice?
I hope so, because if we as a prosecutors can't do it, it means that all international law does not work. A rule of law is just a sound, and all judicial mechanisms are broken. That's why I think it's a great challenge for whole world and for whole authorities, states, to create such system which can prevent. What we see now, international humanitarian law could not prevent this war, and this is very cruel, very terrible, very aggressive war.
How hard is for the prosecutors, because I saw those pictures, is to work with these cases these days?
We have special department of juvenile prosecutors, and they used to work with the kids who were victims. And of course, it's difficult for them as a human, but they have special qualification and psychological qualification to work with it. But what now our prosecutors see, it's very terrible. And not only juvenile prosecutors do with this. We have special department of war, and all prosecutors, not only department of war, and other prosecutors work with such categories of cases. It's very hard, because actually we can't, when we see such terrible things, we want to finish investigation very quickly. But we can't do it very quickly, because we need to have concrete person who is guilty. When we understand that we can use our national legislation with concrete soldier, commander and others, then we understand that it will be punished by international humanitarian law, when they have such term as a common responsibility. And then for these crimes will be responsible the top level of militaries, the top level politicians, and of course the president and authorities of the country.
So these procedures go, I understand that on two courses. One, you will go with these cases to the court in
even 4 approaches. I understand.
Yes, in Supreme, I mean Ukrainian Supreme Court, National Supreme Court, and with the others to the International Justice Court.
We have 4 approaches. First of them, of course, our national jurisdiction. It is very important for me, because I want the decisions named by Ukraine. It's very important, because Putin actually won't destroy our state and kill all Ukrainians as a nation. That's why we need court decisions named by Ukraine. For us, the approach, it is international platforms. It is ICJ court, International Criminal Court and Strasbourg court. For us, as for prosecutors, the main court, of course, it's ICC, International Criminal Court. Prosecutor Han, the prosecutor of ICC, started his investigations and he was in Ukraine several weeks ago. I saw that he is ready to investigate, and he is a very professional prosecutor. He is absolutely independent, and we will see what is his strategy of investigation. The third approach, it is joint investigation team. We created joint investigation team with Lithuania and Poland. And now it's very important for us too, because we can do very fast in these investigations in different jurisdictions, and we will see which mechanism we can use in every circumstances. And then our JIT will be open for other states. And this is our fourth approach. It is starting criminal cases in other jurisdictions. Now 10 European countries started their own criminal investigations about war crimes.
So there is an international strong support for Ukraine. Besides these war cases opened in other countries, you have also the support of the Office of the European Prosecutor General, Laura Petrusachete, she was here. And also you will be represented by the lawyer Mark Rooney.
That's true. That's true. I am very happy that we can create this international judicial front. And Laura Kavosha was several weeks ago here, and we signed agreement. What we create here in Ukraine, we started with task group for finding the assets, all properties of these criminal war criminals, and we want to arrest this. At first, of course, freeze. Then, after court decision, arrest their assets and properties, not only under sanctions, but in concrete criminal cases. Then we want to confiscate this property or to budget of Ukraine, or we have alternative or parallel process to confiscate them to concrete Ukrainian citizens, ordinary Ukrainian citizens. We have more than 4 million refugees now. That's why we understand that people who lost relatives, who lost houses, who lost or everything here, they should have compensation from war criminals. It's another mechanism which we can use in our legislation. And with Laura Kavusha we spoke about this, and with Amal Clooney we spoke about this mechanism, because I think that the main punishment for citizens of state aggressor, it is understanding that they are responsible for this war. And when they can understand that their war criminals will have punishment not only about prison, and all of them understand that they should go out of Russian Federation. No, they should understand that if we found their properties, Ukrainians can have compensation from their possible assets.
Despite undeniable proof, and I mean corpses found on the street, people killed in these cities, Russia claims that that they didn't commit any violent act on civilians here in Ukraine. How would you respond in court if you would have to respond to them, to this claim?
You saw this picture of the boy.
Yes.
Who will respond with the Russian projectile inside?
Russia.
When we see these pictures, and again, prosecutors see not picture, they see dead bodies. And of course, when we understand that we can't have alternative variant who is guilty, we only should fix all evidence and fix all situation what we have. We do our job very honestly, and we know and we are ready to demonstrate all this for whole world who is responsible for these crimes. Actually, not Ukrainians bombed Ukrainian cities, it's Russian troops again and again bombed clinics, hospitals, kindergarten, schools and so on. And they do it systematically. That's why we can't speak only about war crimes. When they bombed civilian infrastructure systematically, it's about crimes against humanity. That's why I think that we can have a lot of evidence, and when actually the whole world decide to see this justice, they will see it.